Ladies and gentlemen, presented by the WZWA Network, it's the Insider's Edge Podcast with your host, Karlifornia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Insider's Edge Podcast here on the WZWA Network. I'm your host with the most on the West Coast, Karlifornia. And it's great to be with you all once again. And here we go. For the first time ever on the Insider's Edge Podcast, I have somebody return to the show. This is very exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, the big kahuna, the big cheese, the boss of IWA Deep South. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kevin Brannen, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, brother. I appreciate you having me back on. You always been kind to me and a big supporter, and I appreciate everything you do, man.
Oh, no problem, Kevin. And, I appreciate your passion for professional wrestling. That's why, I'm a big supporter. And last time I had you on the show, it was really fun learning about what you do and how you promote your shows and the struggles that you go through to put on something like a Carnage Cup. And today's show, I really wanted to do a bit of a dive into Carnage Cup 13 that just took place not too long ago. So please, could you let me know the struggles that you faced when you were trying to put together this show? Because I know that there were a few dates here and there, a few different venues you were trying, and it didn't work out until it finally did. Can you tell me a little bit about all of that?
I think at the very beginning when I was wanting to try to book it, we were originally going to try to book it back at the same location that we did Carnage Cup 12 at, which was in Georgia, like right outside of Atlanta. But I had contacted the venue and I tried to get it, and I talked to the lady, and she made me aware that they were in the process of signing the lease through, I think, the state. They were gonna have some kind of busing company where they were gonna have like a bus line or something. Anyway, they had leased that out, and that had fallen through. And then I had talked to a couple of different guys in Tennessee. I was looking at trying to get a couple of venues up there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Then Hardcore Hillbilly, from XPW, I talked to him, and he knew a venue, and it fell through. I don't remember exactly why. I think he told me, but I can't remember. It was I think it didn't have no power, and we was going to have a generator, and so if I didn't have no Wi-Fi, I couldn't do live pay-per-view. And I just started talking with Rob with XPW about doing the pay-per-view. And so anyway, I had gone back to this guy who I had met back at Carnage Cup 11 in 2017 that had some property in Tennessee. And I talked to him and talked to his dad, and we ended up working out a deal so we can end up coming to his farm. And he had a Wi-Fi. It wasn't great, but the guys said they could work with it. And so we ended up going as McKenzie, Tennessee, which is a really small town. It's a country place out in the middle of nowhere. But pretty much I could do what I wanted to. There wasn't no restrictions or any kind of, restraint or regulation, anything. I could just, as long as I, compensated them well, that I could get the place. And so that's why we ended up going there. And then we had a great time. Turnout wasn't as good as I'd hoped, but I think next year we should have significantly better turnout, because we're going to be right back at the same place 1 year later. And so we ended up already being approved to go back next year. And I'm looking at probably the same weekend, third weekend in October. I'm pretty much sure. I mean, it's not 100%, but about 99% sure it'll probably be third weekend in October next year.
Well, that's cool. And I was glad that that things ended up working out. And when I started streaming the pay-per-view, I was pretty happy to see where you were doing the show, because it just seemed it made it come across quite unique that it was on a property like that. And speaking of all of this, streamxpw.com was how this pay-per-view was able to be bought. How did that come about with you having conversations with Rob?
Let me see. I'm trying to think how it initially started. Well, I'd always been a big supporter of XPW, even back, when it started way back in '99. But when Rob, when he brought XPW back, he was going with the tagline, you can't cancel what wasn't canceled or whatever. And is that the tagline, or is it?
So it's pretty close, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then something about so woke. I forget what the tagline is. I'm sorry.
That's right.
But anyway, so, and then after I watched a few shows, I was like, yeah, we would fit good together. And I think, let me see. Well, see, I'm good friends with Kris Kloss. Yeah. He and I, we real close personal friends, Kris Kloss and I. And so we talked a few years ago. Well, back at Carnage Cup 12, he and I had spoken about I had interest in approaching Rob about doing some business together. And so I talked to Kris, and then he told me just reach out to Rob and just tell him what I wanted to do and my ideas. And so that's what I've done. I just reached out to Rob, and I just, respectful, always respectful, and just told him, I appreciated his product, and I'd been a big supporter, and he had heard about me and had heard about IWA Deep South and all the controversy and all the crazy shit we'd done over the years. And so we pretty much hit it off. Very first time I talked to him, Rob and I hit it off, and I think we ended up, first time I talked to him, a little over an hour, and he liked what I wanted to do, and I liked what he offered. And then pretty much from there you kept talking, and pretty much worked out a deal. And then next thing you know, we was we set the pay-per-view up. And, I told him, since we're working together, I want to bring Larry Legend in and bring in some XPW guys. And we ended up using one of Rob's video crews. We even used, booked one of his crews, so they handled the pay-per-view for us. And so it worked out good, man. I'm pleased with how it worked out. And I'm just ready to do something, else. We talked about putting my entire catalog on Stream XPW, and that's still a work in progress. We haven't ironed it all out yet, but that's something that we're working on right now, though.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be great, to be honest, to get the whole catalog up there, because it's quite a big catalog. So, okay, we're still talking about how you put this show together, Carnage Cup 13. I know that you had some hopes and dreams of, who you wanted to have perform in the tournament. Were there any people that you tried to get and you couldn't get, or were there guys that had to come and fill in at the last minute because somebody couldn't make the show? Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I had initially spoke to Dr. Redacted, and I was close to getting something worked out with him, and he ended up having some kind of family So I don't know if it was I don't know it was emergency, but he had some kind of family situation he had to handle. So unfortunately, he couldn't make it. Let's see, man, we had Bev. Had talked to him. He wanted to do it, but it wasn't going. The date wasn't going to work out. I had actually talked to Masada, and I was, man, I mean, he was all for it and everything, but he had some issues to where he wasn't going to be able to make it. Or well, he didn't know for sure. Well, by the time I found out, it was like last minute. He could have ended up making it, but it just was. By the time I found out, the flights were just so high, and we couldn't get something last minute. They was just extremely too high. Let's see. The body was supposed to be on it, but he had issues at the border. Let me see here. Big F and Joe. Big F and Joe. We was talking, and he almost ended up getting on there, but he had some issues. I couldn't get him on there. And he told me, matter of fact, he told me Carnage was on his bucket list. He's like, dude, he said, next year just let me know, plenty enough in time, and we'll make it work. And I honestly thought it was going to work out, but then something, it just on his end, it did, it fell through. So, so as you can see, yeah, I had several well-known guys, and they all wanted to do it, but it just didn't work out. And then we had to end up, we got, let's see, Jimmy Controversy, he stepped up and he got on there. And then we had Blaine Evans come in, pretty much unannounced because we'd had him banned after the issue with John Rare at the last one, with his finger. So, wink. So we ended up, they stepped up, and I mean, it worked out, man. Guys that had never got a shine on other shows, they had a chance to step up and show what they can do and busted ass. So, man, we ended up, having a hell of a damn show weekend. But yeah, I think next year, I would expect to see there's going to be quite a few recognizable names that are going to be on there. So next year we're planning on expanding it to 3 shows, and it's going to be an even bigger weekend than this weekend was. So I wouldn't miss it, man. If I would, anybody who's on the fence or thinking about it, definitely want to be at next year's, because it's going to be an amazing weekend.
Awesome. Well, I'll keep it in mind. Hopefully I can fly over. So I as I said before, I did watch the show. I noticed that at some stage that there was some sort of technical difficulty going on. I wasn't sure what was going on. I just know that there was a big break, and I had a screen telling me that we'll be back in 25 minutes or so. It will get down to 0, and then boom, pop back up to 5 minutes remaining. And it did it about 3 or 4 times. I'm like, oh, something's gone wrong here. What were the difficulties that took place on the day?
Well, so I had this new ring crew that come in, and they were they didn't have enough help. And so what had happened was we had opened the show with some no rope matches, the saw match and the spiral. And we figured, well, it'd be better to do it that way. And normally in the past we had done that with no problem. But this ring crew, just I mean, it was just entirely too slow. And so we ended up, we got close to being started. Then they were slow on the ring with the ropes. And then then finally got the damn ropes up, then we had to set up the ring for the next match. And then it just, what had happened too, Rob, I think they had a commercial that was supposed to air, and something happened with it on their end, and it didn't air, and so we was just like having a lot of dead time. And so next year I done already got it figured out. How I'm gonna handle it differently. So there shouldn't be no issue next year. It should be a lot smoother. But unfortunately, there's not much I could have done this time. We just had that trouble. But
right, yeah, no, that's I assumed it was something like that. Yeah. So one thing I guess I would say that I really enjoyed on Carnage Cup 13 was Kris Kloss working with Larry Legend on commentary. Me personally, I think I already told you, I was on a plane with like 30,000 feet in the air, and everyone on the plane was essentially, asleep because it was quite late. And I was just bursting into laughter really loudly, unfortunately, and disturbing people. But they did a great job as far as I'm concerned. How did you feel that those two went and worked together on this show?
Oh man, I was very pleased with how they worked together. Like I say, Kris and I are really, really good friends now. I've been knowing him since 2015, so we speak at least a couple times a week. But that's the first time I'd worked with Larry, and I know Larry's a hell of a damn ring announcer and a damn good commentator. So I already had it in mind. I knew they were going to work great together, and I wasn't disappointed. They knocked it out of the park. So yeah, I was very pleased with them. I wish that Kris and Rob, whatever difference they may have, I wish they could work it out, because I'd like to see Kris back at XPW, man. Honestly, at least the California shows. I mean, I'm not sure if it's feasible for him to work the New Jersey shows, but I mean, Kris, at least the California shows, man. I don't see no reason why he couldn't be on them. But that's not my thing. That's not my business. That's between him and Rob. So I don't know what's going on there. Well, I do, but I mean, I'm not gonna say, but it's none of my business. So, yeah. What can you do? Yeah.
No, I understand where you're coming from there. I see him on your show, and he's talking about and promoting streamxpw.com. And I don't know, I felt a bit bad because I know nobody on the planet is more passionate about XPW than Kris Kloss. So it was good to see him back out there commentating. But yeah, I too hope that they can get their issues sorted, because I just watched their Merry Christmas 2 show yesterday, and Ron Namey was out from surgery, so Larry Legend ended up working with Stephen Jury on the show. But I was thinking, oh man, give Kris a call if Ron can't do the LA show, then. But I guess there's still some issues there between the two of them. Speaking of somebody else that means a lot to you and IWA Deep South, John Rare. Last time we had spoke, you kind of alluded to the fact that this might have been John's last hurrah in the ring at Carnage Cup 13. His last hurrah is a first round elimination. So I was thinking, oh, maybe he'll be back next time for Carnage Cup 14. What were your thoughts on John's inclusion on this show?
Well, I knew some things that was supposed to go down, and John, I guess he got excited, I guess, or just in the moment his adrenaline got going. Of course, he stabbed himself, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and unfortunately, he got severely injured from the box cutter stabbing. I think it was 3 or 4 stabs, I think it was,
right.
And so unfortunately that match got cut way too short. Since then, myself and Blaine Evans have been talking to him, and I don't know for sure, but I think John will be back at 14. Blaine's wanting another match with him, and he feels the way I do. He feels like that really, if that was going to be his last one, it really wasn't a proper send off. So we're on him pretty hot and heavy, trying to get him released to do next year. And so if I had to bet, I'd say he's probably going to do next year. I guess we'll wait and see. And I go ahead and say it'll probably end up being him and Blaine Evans, because Blaine's the one that's been in his ear trying to get him to come back and do another one. And my own personal opinion, I thought him and Blaine at Carnage Cup 12 was a hell of a fucking match.
Yeah.
Hell of a match. So I would look for them to possibly work each other next year if I had to bet, but I guess we'll just see. John's thinking about it, so I guess we'll see what's up.
Cool.
But
yeah,
for what happened, I mean, the match was short. I mean, I know it could have been longer, could have been better, but that injury just it fucked it up, man. And it's just one of them things, man. It just happens,
Of course, yeah. So the winner of Carnage Cup 13, Bryant Woods, what led to the decision that he was going to be the guy to win number 13?
Well, Bryant's been with me since Carnage Cup 8. He debuted at 8 against Spider, so that was 2012. So he been he was a finalist at Carnage Cup 9 and 10. Yeah, he was a finalist at 9 and 10. And so he was real close. He come real close at Carnage Cup 9 and 10 of winning, didn't win. 11, he had a good showing at 11. And then he stepped away for a couple of years. And then from the last time he worked until the time he come back, Spider passed away. And, Spider always wanted Bryant, to take up the Deep South banner and carry it on, when he had to go, because he was going to retire. He was retiring, before he passed. He was actually going to work another Carnage Cup, Spider was, and then he passed away. So Bryant told me, he wanted to come back, and he wanted to honor Spider's memory.
Yeah.
And do him proud and everything, which I done told Bryant a couple years ago, I owed him one, because he was more than deserving in winning a Carnage Cup. And he done come close a couple of times, but didn't win. And I told him, I said, man, whenever you come back, I'm putting you over. I said, just let me know when you're ready. And so then he told me, I'm ready. So 13, I'm gonna come back. And I honored him. I always, if I give somebody my word and I tell somebody I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, And so he wanted to come back at 13. Well, he come back last year and worked the show and made his return. And he said, all right, I'm ready for 13. And so, I honored my word, and I did what I said I was going to do. And of course, he ended up finishing the match with Spider's finisher, the Spider driver off the U-Haul. And that was Spider's big finish, was the Michinoku, Spider driver off the high spot.
Yeah. And
so that's the way, Bryant wanted to honor his fallen comrade with the same finish, So I was happy, man. I mean, for him to have been gone a few years and for him to come back, he's in great shape. He deserved it, and he's done so much for me over the years. And I felt great, putting him over, and he deserved it, man.
That's cool. I agree. As the show was progressing, I thought to myself, yeah, I could see him possibly walking away with the victory, and well earned as well. So speaking of you on show day, what kind of duties would you have to be concerned about? If anyone out there's wondering what the promoter does on a show day for Carnage Cup, what duties do you have to worry about, Kevin?
Well, at this stage, since I've been doing them so damn long, I'm usually myself and my vice president, Tyler Becker. We're the first two people there and the last two to fucking leave. And so shit, the way it goes now, I'll show up at the location, venue, whatever, and he'll show up and we're both there and they preparation, the number one numero uno is getting them gimmicks ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so I help with Tyler, and we've got a crew that comes in and I oversee. I don't do a hell of a lot of work anymore. I help, but I'm, older now. Well, I ain't old. I'm 45, but I don't help like I used to. But I oversee and I make sure, Tyler and we make sure everything gets done. And biggest thing is the gimmicks. I mean, once we got the gimmicks out of the way, then we start checking the lineup, making sure the guys are there who's advertised, and then pretty much that's it. Up until the announcers and everybody gets there, referees. Then we start going over the match order and all that, and some of them will get the guys together and finish, get the finishes lined up, and I pretty much let guys call their own stuff. I don't script anything. I let guys have a lot of creative freedom, and so I don't too much worry about a lot of that. I tell them, who's going over, and sometimes, I'll call some spots here and there. But other than that, for the most part, the guys got creative freedom. They do, what they want with, as long as, they got the finish in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man, in a nutshell,
Yeah, fair enough. So this is an odd question, but I don't know. It popped in my head when I was thinking of what happens when the show's over. Because you're out there is in Mackenzie, as you said, a small town. There's a show happening the following day, of course. Where does do people stay over if there's going to be a show the next day, or is there a place that everyone goes to after the show's over? I don't know. I'm just wondering is there an after party? Are people having drinks outside in the dark? What's going on after the show's over?
Well, there was some people that camped, and they'd drink or get to smoke on or party, whatever. Some of them will, the ones that's camping, they'll just party at the farm, But the rest of us, hell, we'll go find somewhere to eat, at a good restaurant. Might have a few drinks and try to, and get something to eat. The main thing we're doing, looking for something to eat, because I don't need a whole lot on the show day until the damn thing's over. Because I guess it's just, I don't know. That's always how I've been, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll go to a restaurant or bar and grill, and we'll hang out and talk over. I got my own crew that I hang with. Myself, Kris, Kloss, Tyler Becker, and a few other guys, Kenny and Dallas and Jan. Pretty much the same crew that I hang with. We'll go somewhere, and then some of the other guys, they'll go to a different place, and we'll just chill. We'll stay in there, shit, couple of hours, and just shoot the breeze and drink and eat. And then we'd go back to the room, just fucking crash, man, because I'm tired, So that's pretty much it, as far as that goes.
Cool. So 2024 is almost here, and I just wanted to know what plans you might have other than Carnage Cup 14 next October. Is there any sort of other plans in the pipeline for IWA Deep South?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on a show right now for sometime in March. It's going to be called Southern Outlaws. We'll be back on Stream XPW Live. It's pretty much going to be invite only, locations kayfabe. I don't. It'll be about a 9-10 match card, majority death match. Working on the card right now, so I know we're doing that. Probably going to end up. I'm thinking to go end up shooting another Boris Dookie movie. We had the first one, which it was pretty much I was brand new on that shit, man, and it didn't turn out quite as good as I wanted to, but I've got some more experience now, so we're going to end up making another one of those. I don't know if you knew about the first one or not, but we're going to end up making another film. In the Boris Dookie, the Nation of Defecation, TWO storyline, pretty much saga, and we're gonna do something with that. Other than that, I'm not sure if we'll have anything else other than Weekend of Carnage. But that's what's next coming up is in March. We'll have the Southern Outlaw Weekend.
Okay, cool. Well, there we go. That's good to hear. There was a I don't know what it was that took place on the show here for Carnage Cup 13. Brian White, I believe he was facing off with Chewy Martinez. He looked to be in quite a bit of pain by the end of the match. I believe some rubbing alcohol was used or something like that. Can you tell me what happened there?
I think it was actually I think it was Tabasco sauce. I don't even know what that thing was that it was in, but he had it poured in that. Do you know what that thing's called that they had it in? Do you remember?
Is it like the kind of thing that you have like holy water in or something like that?
Yeah, it was weird. I never had seen one at a show, but anyway, whatever it was, I think when you did your review, I think you thought it was rubbing alcohol, but it was Tabasco sauce, or habanero sauce or something. And he poured it right in his damn eyes. And so they went home. Well, then after the match, Brian said, I'm sorry, man. He said I couldn't see, my eyes were fucking on fire. And but I mean, I don't know if the fans that watch the pay-per-view, if they really like grasp like how bad that shit fucking burns. And because people say, they knew it went home too early. And but if you don't comprehend that, man, that shit fucking hurts. I mean, to have it directly poured in your eyes. And he said, man, it took him forever. And he was rinsing it with water and everything and wiping his eyes, and man, shit burns the hell out of your eyes. And so that's what it was, though. But I know you can appreciate it. You know what the fuck's up with it, man.
Absolutely, because I could tell. I was like, he's not just selling. Like, that's real pain that I'm seeing right there, because he got up real quick after the pinfall took place. So
yeah,
I'm glad he's okay now. But at the time, I was like, geez, there's deathmatch wrestling, and then there's just torturing yourself.
Yeah.
Is there a particular match or performance on the show of Carnage Cup 13 that you were most happy with?
Well, the 13, well, of course, you had Kings of Carnage the next day too, but the actual tournament itself, I mean, I don't know just one match, but I mean, Little Sicko, I was very, very happy with. He in a lot of guys' minds, he was the standout guy. Was Little Sicko, but shit, I don't know, man. Bryant, I guess Bryant and Necro Butcher and Jimmy Controversy was a very, very entertaining match. I hate to just throw it out there because I love all my guys. Everybody busted ass, but I mean the finals. I enjoyed the finals a lot. I mean the second day. I don't know if you watched it or not, but Little Sicko and Jay Blade, I thought they had the match of the damn weekend. I mean, it was fucking insane. Did you watch it?
I did not, unfortunately, because I had arrived in the next location of my holiday at the time. So I was
Okay.
I think I was at a theme park all day the following day. So I yeah. Unfortunately missed that second show, Kings of Carnage.
Yeah. Where were you traveling to and from?
Oh, I just spent some time in Fiji, and then on the way back, we stopped over at the Gold Coast in Queensland, which has a lot of theme parks and things of that nature. So I was staying there for 4 or 5 days before heading back to Perth. So in total, I was gone for 2 weeks, but yeah, I had a great time. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, Fiji's just like paradise, absolute paradise. All right, well, that's cool. So how did things go with streamxpw.com? Did you get many pay-per-view buys for the show?
Yeah, I mean, I won't say the exact number, but Rob and I looked at it and they were competitive, with what he does. So they were, I mean, I was pleased with it, when I seen it all broke down, and I think Rob was pleased. So, I mean, it was pretty damn good, man. I mean, we had a good number of buys. I mean, they could always be higher, but for the first one ever on Stream XPW, I was pretty well pleased with it. I think next year will be significantly more, but for the first one, I was pleased with it.
That's good to hear. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not just saying this because you're on the show. I've seen a few deathmatch tournaments this year. I believe I said it in my review as well. XPW had Karlifornia 2, CZW had Tournament of Death 20. In my opinion, I thought Carnage Cup 13 was the best of the 3 that I saw this year. I also watched GCW's tournament, but I did not like what they did with the Tournament of Survival this year. How would you compare Carnage Cup 13 to the previous 12?
Man, I think top 5, probably top 5 that we've had. I'd rank it in top 5, and you're not the only person that said that it was their favorite tournament. I've heard from several people that watch all the tournaments, and they said that, this one just, I don't know, and it might sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but people say it's just a different type of show, different type of tournament, just from the environment to the gimmicks to the, I guess, danger aspect, or the unpredictability to the, I guess, just raw, just reckless aspect. I don't know. And then it's just that Deep South vibe. I mean, people always talk to me about that Deep South vibe that you just don't get anywhere else. And I don't really know. I don't really know, I guess, because, I live it, and I don't really know what they mean, but they just say it's just, I don't know, it's just different, man. Deep South's just different, so, people that don't like us or like competition, they never would admit that shit. But I talk to real fans, real, people that appreciate it. And I get it all the time, man. People always, they talk highly of them, and that's just true, man, and I appreciate all the support I get. I always appreciate the fans and the supporters. I never take away from the fans. Always take care of the boys, and always take care of the fans. If you fuck either one of them, you fucking yourself, and then you end up like some of these guys I won't mention, and where they at, So that's why I live by that, man. I live by, I treat the boys good, I treat the fans good, and I do what I say I'm gonna do. I keep my word. There's 3 things, man. You got to.
Absolutely. And I would like to know, you've told me about that you've got a show coming up in March, obviously next October. You're looking for Carnage Cup 14. Are there any other further goals? that you are hoping to achieve with IWA Deep South over the next few years?
I would like I said, I would like to get the catalog expanded through Stream XPW. I'm talking with a couple of film companies about trying to do a new documentary, a little different direction, possibly something bigger. I've got some people trying to work on getting me something through Vice, maybe getting me a Dark Side of the Ring episode. I've had some feelers put out. I hadn't had anything, concrete with that yet, but that's something else I'm wanting to do. Then like to try to maybe do like a joint show with Rob. It'd be something else I want to try to do. Let me see. And then I want to just keep building Weekend of Carnage and just build it up, bigger and bigger, maybe expand it, to more like a festival. And just that's pretty much the main ones, man. Main goals right now I got.
Right, well, that's cool to hear, because when you think about last time I had you on the show and I talked to you about, there's an IWA East Coast, there's IWA Mid South, there's Deep South. It seems that you're the last one standing out of the three, because I don't think Pondo's put on a show for quite a few years now, maybe two or 3 years. And I don't know if it's coming back or not, but you did talk to me about wanting to do maybe like a joint show at some point and get all the IWAs together. But at this stage right now, it appears that Deep South is the only one still standing.
Yeah, no, I don't. That was something maybe in the past, but I don't see myself. I don't see myself working with Ian, so that's not going to be something that's going to happen, But I right now I just pretty much just going to work with XPW.
Cool.
The guy. I probably work with that guy at Texas. I think Loco. Have you heard of them?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'd probably work with them guys. There's some guys I'd work with, but yeah, like I said, Ian wouldn't be one of them, no, man.
Fair enough. To all the IWA Deep South fans out there that are watching this interview, and to everyone else who's a big deathmatch wrestling fan, wanted to check this interview out, is there anything that you'd like to say? Let them know. Plug. Fire away, Kevin.
You can follow us. We've got a merch website now. If you go to our Facebook at IWA Deep South, we've got a link to our new merch page. We've got our new TikTok going at IWA Deep South. We're on TikTok at IWA Deep South on Instagram, and then the IWA Deep South .printify.me is our new merch website. We've got everything from shirts to decals, hoodies, tumblers, everything, blankets, shot glasses, everything. So we've expanded our merch reach now with that. So you can go check that out. Like I said, I'll have probably within the next 2 weeks, I have information for Southern Outlaws available. You can check our Facebook out and we'll have that information up. And so, yeah, man, that's it,
Cool. And all of that information Kevin just talked about, I'm going to have all the links in the description on YouTube when this interview goes out. Kevin, I've had fun with you once again, talking about Carnage Cup 13, talking about your future plans. And again, my congratulations to you for being able to bring the tournament back, and also for the success that you've had with it, considering all the great feedback that the show had. So again, I want to thank you so much for your time here today.
I appreciate you, man. Everything you do, all your positive words, your support, and man, anytime you want me back on, I'll gladly come back on anytime, brother.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. And thank all of you out there for joining me here for the Insider's Edge podcast here, episode 178 with my friend here, Mr. Kevin Brannen, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.